Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome back to the channel. My name is Mark Roden, and today we are going to be talking about whether or not I think you should buy a Acura Integra, depending on what your, what's your, look at this.
Connection success.
Depending on what you're looking for. So we're going to go over all the bases, the guy that likes to go fast, guy that just needs a daily driver. We'll go over them all, because I've owned this Integra now since late November, so a little over, almost, probably like 2.5 months by now. Here's a quick little cold start for you, by the way. It's not super loud. Not super loud.
For connection.
So yeah.
Connection success.
Shut up, man. Jesus. So anyway, this is a 2000 Acura Integra LS. It is not a GSR, even though it has a GSR cluster. I know it looks like it may be a GSR, but it is not. It is a manual, and mine has around 140,000 miles on it. Has actually exactly 144,000 miles on it. And like I said, I've had it for around 2.5 months. Wow, that's bright AF. Turn my thing down. And yeah, so we're gonna go over all the bases. First off, before we even get started, I paid $3,000 for mine, and that is around, I would say, the average price for a car, for like an Integra in this condition. I did get a semi-good deal, I feel like, so you're probably looking at closer to like 4,000 maybe if you want to get one in. Mine is like perfect, has no flaws really, besides the mileage. So you're probably looking at, like I said, closer to like $4,000, maybe $5,000, depending on like how nice it is, if it has any mods on it, and the mileage and stuff like that. But either way, that's the basis. And there are a lot of sports cars within that price range, obviously, like the $3,000 to $5,000 price range. There are a lot of cool cars that you could buy for that amount of money. And so we're gonna go over which one, like if I think this is actually a good idea for you. Now I do want to say, I personally love this car. I think this car is amazing, and I'm really happy with my purchase. I'm gonna like it a lot more when it's modified. I can already tell that much, but I do like it. I am on the taller side, I'll say that. I'm 6'1", and sitting in a car like this at 6'1" is a little cramped compared to like my Z. Like driving a Z, you feel like you have a lot more space than something like this, but it's not that bad. Yeah, you could definitely do it if you're 6'1". It's not like a Miata or anything like that. But either way, let's get started. If you guys should buy this car. So first off is the big one, the one that most of you guys are, and you guys are probably looking at, is if you're a high schooler, should you buy an Integra as a high schooler? The answer is yes. If anything, I feel like these cars are perfect for high schoolers right now because they're in that little like good price range of like where most high schoolers are at, like the $3,000 to $5,000 price range. I feel like that's where most high schoolers are, and that's a good price. That's a really good price for a car like this. Now, I'm gonna be honest, like stock, this car is not gonna turn any heads. You're not gonna like get any super amount of attention, but that's good because then it means like you can modify it. You could start with doing things to the car at a young age, like 16 years old, and learn how the cars work. On top of that, I always try telling people, like, if you're gonna buy a first car and you're gonna try and learn mechanics on it, you should do it with a Honda, because Hondas are super easy to like work on. Everything is so basic and everything's right there in your face. They're not hard to work on. So if you like don't know anything about mechanics and want to start learning, Honda's in Integra is once again another good deal for that. And on top of all that stuff, the car isn't fast. It's really not. And so you won't be getting into any like serious trouble in this car, at least stock. You can obviously, it has a B series in it, so you could easily make the car significantly faster if you wanted to, but stock, you won't be getting into any trouble. However, it'll still be fun because it handles like a little gremlin. So everything about the car, in my opinion, is absolutely perfect for a high schooler. I think if you're a high schooler getting into your first car and you want something that's fun but not gonna like be dangerous, it's gonna be still cheap on insurance, cheap to fix, and you can learn how to fix it all at the same time, then yeah, an Integra is a great deal for you because, like I said, for all those exact reasons. Now, the next person that I have in mind is the people that like racing, straight line racing, drag racing, street racing, whatever you want to call it, that kind of racing. Is it a good option for you? It can be. I would recommend going with a different Honda. Personally, I would recommend going with something like a cheaper Civic, because these Integras are getting a little bit rare, and so they are getting a little bit harder to find for like a really good price, whereas those old Civics are still really cheap, like really cheap. So you can, obviously it comes with a B series, like I said, and the B series can make insane power, And so if you want to have a little drag car, then yeah, you can do it with an Integra, and it's still going to be cheap. It's still going to be a good idea. But I would personally recommend, if you're going that route and you don't really care about anything else, then to go with a Civic or even like an Accord, honestly. Those are all like good options. But once again, the Integra is still a good option for that. I just, I'm not sure if that's like the best idea for you. As a daily driver, if you're somebody that's a little bit older and you're like in your like mid-20s or early 30s or whatever, and you're looking for a daily and you already have a little fun car, I actually wouldn't recommend getting a Integra. Now hear me out. The reason why is because as a daily driver, I feel like you should always be like comfortable, and like you should have a car that's like very enjoyable to drive. Like you don't have to drive it and be like, oh, this is outdated. And that's not really the Integra. Like I said, I'm 6'1", and every time I like turn my hand, like my knee hits the steering wheel, like you can see it right there. Like stuff like that happens with this car, and it's definitely not the most comfortable drive. So as like somebody that's looking for like I said, as somebody that's looking for a daily driver, I actually honestly would not recommend this car. I would recommend going with something that's a little bit newer, so you have nicer like features in the car, you have more space, and it's newer, so those parts are readily available for it and all that mumbo jumbo. I actually wouldn't recommend this car even though I'm using it as a daily. I'm just saying, like, I don't know if it's actually one of the better options nowadays. But the next thing is for you track boys, you boys that like to take corners heavy. Well, that's the reason why I actually got this car. That's when I bought this car. The reason why is because I knew I was going to enjoy it around the twisties, and it absolutely is a blast around the twisties still. I really recommend, that's why I said before, like, I don't recommend really using this car as a drag racing car, because these Integras were made for like handling purposes. They were sports cars. They were meant to take corners nicely. The Civics are the ones that you can just modify to go fast in a straight line. These ones are better suited for like swerves and track racing and stuff like that. And so if you're looking for a car that's like a cheap little autocross car or a canyon carving car, absolutely you should get an Integra. Dude, this thing is bone stock, and I cannot tell you how much fun I have in like the sharp corners with this car. Oh my god, it feels like I'm a race car driver. It is so much fun driving this car in the tight corners. It grips up like crazy. It's so much fun, and it's slow speed, so you're not too worried about getting hurt and like crashing it, but you're still like pushing the car to the limits. And oh dude, if you guys are looking for like a cheap little track car, I absolutely think yes, the Integra is a good deal for you there. Overall, I do think the Integra is honestly just a good deal for most people out there looking for a car. But the reason why I made this video is because I want to make it clear that it's not like the perfect car for everybody that's looking for a certain thing. Like, once again, like something like an off-road build, you're obviously not going to be able to do that with an Integra. Drifting, this is front-wheel drive, so you're not going to be able to do that with Integras. There are a lot of things that are out there that like you have to think to yourself before you buy the Integra. You have to think to yourself, well, what is it that I actually want? Not like what is it that the internet wants. Like, do you personally want to have an Integra because you want to take the corners like a boss and have a nice little B series under the hood that's going to get you to point A to point B and back on time and comfortably, and you don't have to really worry, and you don't really care about the like interior? If that's you, then yeah, an Integra is a great deal. But if you're somebody that wants like a nice newer daily that's going to be reliable, quick in a straight line, maybe something like that you can have fun with your friends and like drift it and like do donuts and stuff like that, then no, the Integra is not for you. It's a front wheel drive, low horsepower, cramped little early 2000s car with not a lot of features on it. So you got to think about that before you buy this car. But overall, I absolutely am loving the Integra. I know a lot of you guys are probably sitting there wondering like, oh, where's the Integra build, Mark? Like, you keep telling us, you keep promising us the Integra build. Where is it? It's coming. Like, I have the coilovers in the back. All I'm waiting for is my friends to be available. Once my friends are available and I can start filming with them, the videos are gonna start coming. It's just like they're working all the time, and I want to like have more people in the background so you guys don't get bored of just me, and you can see like my personal life with my friends. Like, when I watch Adam LZ, yeah, I love Adam LZ, but I also like his friends in the back, and I like the friendship that they have and stuff like that. So that's kind of what I want to go for, and I want to build this car, but I want to build it with my friends. So I'm kind of waiting on them to see what they want to do, and we'll get started on that soon. But either way, thank you guys so much for watching. I appreciate it. I do love the Integra. I want to make that very clear, but I once again, I'm just gonna reiterate here that I do not think the car is for everybody, just like how I don't think the 350Z is for everybody. As a matter of fact, people that like the 350Z are probably not going to like the Integra because they're kind of opposites. They're not really like the same car. So you gotta keep that in mind. But either way, thank you guys so much for watching. I appreciate it. Das Vidania, and have a nice night.